Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 20th February 2021. In this lecture, we are going to see 7 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first article. So this image mainly talking about NASA's Perseverance mission. So this article is very important regarding science and technology, okay, which comes under GS paper 3. And this article is especially important regarding prelims. In prelims, for sure, you can expect questions regarding this Mars missions, okay. So now let us try to understand all dimensions regarding this NASA's Perseverance. So this article mainly talking about NASA's Perseverance rover. So if you see context here, it mainly says that NASA's Perseverance rover has landed on Mars. So it is one of most crucial aspects of this Mars 2020 mission. So in this NASA's Perseverance mission, important step here, it is to landing here. So NASA's Perseverance rover has landed on Mars. Okay, so this is one of important and most crucial step of this Mars 2020 mission that achieved. So if you see some facts regarding this, what is this mission? So this mission is designed to better understand geology of Mars and also to seek signs of ancient lives. So if you see objectives of this Perseverance, mainly to assess here ancient habitability on surface of Mars and as well as to demonstrate technology for future robotic and human exploration. If you see duration of this mission, it is at least 1 Mars year, that is about 687 Earth days. So if you see mission step, mainly there are 4 important steps of this mission. First one is to collect samples, either it may be rock samples or soil samples. Next one is fetch, third one is transfer, and fourth one is return to Earth. So if you see first one is collect, to collect rock samples and as well as soil samples, and they are mainly placed in cigar-sized tubes. And next one is fetch. Here Mars Fetch rover mainly lands and as well as it drives and collects samples from different locations, and finally it will returns to lander. And if you are talking about transfer, so whatever samples which are collected, so those samples will be transferred to Mars ascent vehicle. And next one is return, so they will carry back samples which are collected on Mars to Earth. So these are mission steps. And if you see what is significance of this mission, so first and foremost here is for the first time, so this mission that will manufacture molecular oxygen on Mars by using carbon dioxide from carbonized rich atmosphere. So if you see around this Mars, there is a thick atmosphere is present. So this thin atmosphere is present. So in this thin atmosphere, it is mainly made up of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and as well as argon gases here. So in this carbonized rich atmosphere, now this mission mainly manufactures molecular oxygen on Mars. And next one is this mission that will carry first ever helicopter mainly to fly on Mars. And next one is this is first step mainly to bring back rock samples from Mars for analysis in sophisticated laboratories which are present on Earth. So these are some important significance of this NASA's Perseverance mission. And now let us try to understand some facts regarding Mars. So this Mars is also important for prelims actually. So if you say Mars, it is mainly 4th planet from Sun. So if you have Sun here, we have Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. So it is 4th planet, okay, 4th planet from Sun, and it is also 2nd smallest planet in our solar system. So if you are talking about size of this Mars, it is half the size of Earth. So if you are talking about surface of this Mars, we can see different colors like brown, gold and tan color. It mostly called as red planet because it appears red. So what is reason behind that? Reason here is because of oxidation or rusting of iron in rocks, so it will appear mostly red. So because of this, it is called as red planet. If you are talking about similarities with Earth, so Mars, it is almost similar to Earth in some aspects. So first one is it orbits around the Sun like Earth, and it completes one rotation in tilted axis of 25 degrees with respect to orbit around Sun. So if you are talking about Earth, it also have tilted axis of 23.5 degrees. So in the same way, Mars also tilted by 25 degrees. And it has distinct seasons. So like Earth, it also has some distinct seasons. So what are causes for seasons here? It is tilting axis is important cause for seasons. And if you see some more facts regarding atmosphere, it has thin atmosphere, and this atmosphere mainly made up of gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and as well as argon. So now let us talk about previous Mars mission. So this first Mars mission mainly started in the year 1971. So first country to reach Mars here is Soviet Union. The Soviet Union in 1971, so it became first country to carry out Mars landing, and second country is USA in 1976, and it achieved a successful Mars landing, and it continued about 8 successful Mars landing. And recent thing before this perseverance here is InSight in 2019. And third one is European Space Agency. The name of that mission is Mars Express mission. And if you're talking about next one is India. India mainly went with this Mangalyaan mission, that is Mars Orbiter mission. And now let us see why we are going for frequent missions on Mars. So there are two important reasons. First one is this is a planet where life may have evolved in past, because conditions on this early Mars, which is roughly around 4 billion years ago, which is similar to that of Earth. So because of similar atmosphere or similar conditions, then there might be existence of life in past. And next one is it had a thin atmosphere. So because of this thin atmosphere, it enables stability of water on surface of Mars. That means we can see water it is present on Mars. So because of these reasons, so there are frequent missions that is conducting to know about this Mars. So these are all the facts that you should remember regarding this article. Now let us see next article. Title says India-China complete Pyongyang-so withdrawal. So this article mainly talking about Indo-China disengagement at LAC region. So already we know about background of this standoff of a military between these two armies, India and China, at line of actual control. So if you see, we have here line of actual control. So there is important problem regarding this line of actual control is there are different perceptions regarding this LAC. There is no definite line between India and China that's here so and so LAC will passes because of rough terrain. So there is no correct demarcation of this LAC, that is line of actual control. So because of this, there is increased perceptions regarding this LAC. Okay, here India mainly believes Johnson line here, but if you see on China side, it mainly believes McDonald line. So because of this, there are variation or varied perceptions regarding this LAC that led to standoff here. So this military standoff that started in March-April 2020, and now there is disengagement that is seen in this Pyongyang-so Lake area. So in this context, I want to give you a small homework. Please open your atlas and see where is this Pyongyang-so Lake area which is located exactly. Okay, so you can expect some map based questions in this area. So this article is important regarding GS paper under international relations. So now let us try to understand what is written in this article. So if you see context, it mainly says that India and China, they have completed disengagement on north and south banks of Pyongyang-so in eastern Ladakh. So this engagement was fully complete as per agreement. So recently India and China which came up with agreement. So in this agreement they talk about disengagement in this Pyongyang-so Lake area, correct? And we also studied about some important provisions of that disengagement. So in that disengagement agreement, here both sides they agreed that whatever infrastructure development that happened after this April 2020, that will be dismantled. So this is the thing which is accepted from both the sides. So because of this, now this disengagement was fully complete as per agreement. Okay, so on both sides also they verified, okay, regarding this disengagement process. If you see some more details which are given in this article, it mainly says that now disengagement that happened in this Pyongyang-so area, but there are also other friction areas or disputed areas along this LAC. They include Gogra and as well as hot spring areas and Dipsang plains. So in this there should be disengagement that should happen. So for disengagement of these areas, now they are going for next round of meetings. So these are some important things that are discussed in this article. Now let us see next article. Title says NEP is a milestone to self-reliant India. So this article mainly talking about new education policy. So we discussed about what are provisions of this new education policy, what are benefits, what are negatives, everything we discussed, right? So we are not going to discuss about this NEP. So we are going to focus only on Vishwa Bharati in this lecture. So this article will be important regarding history, which comes under GS paper 1, especially modern history. And as well as this national education policy is important regarding education, which comes under GS paper 2. So now let us have a detailed discussion on this topic. So if you see context, it mainly says that Prime Minister said that new education policy, it is a major milestone in making of self-reliant in nation or self-reliant India here. So he mainly talked about this new education policy. So this will act as a milestone mainly for making our India self-reliant. So he talked about this national education policy or new education policy mainly in Rabindranath Tagore's developed system, that is in Vishwa Bharati. So in Vishwa Bharati University, our Prime Minister make this statement here. So if you are talking about this Vishwa Bharati, so it is one of developed system of Rabindranath Tagore. And this Vishwa Bharati mainly acted as a medium of modernizing Indian education, and also it helpful for freeing from shackles of slavery. So during our freedom struggle, so this Vishwa Bharati played an important role, and this Vishwa Bharati mainly promoted entrepreneurship and self-employment, research and innovation in India. So because of this, our Prime Minister mainly said that this type of Vishwa Bharati and as well as a new education policy that would play a big role in 21st century knowledge economy. Now let us see some facts regarding this Vishwa Bharati. So Tagore mainly named this university as Vishwa Bharati. So what is meaning of this Vishwa Bharati? So this means global university. So how it is a global university? Because it mainly expected that anyone who came to learn in university, they would see the whole world from point of India view. So because of this, it is called as Vishwa Bharati. So we are going to understand whole world in view of India. So this is meaning of this global university, that is Vishwa Bharati here. So this Vishwa Bharati, it is a place to learn and to give a call for research on Indian heritage and also work towards solving problems of poorest of poor. So in this way, it played an important role in our freedom struggle. So these are some facts regarding this article. Now let us see next article. Title says US ready for talks on Iran's deal. So this article mainly talking about Iran's nuclear deal. So we discussed number of times regarding this Iran's nuclear deal. So once again, let us have a brief discussion on this topic. Because of this, it is also helpful for revision for you people also. So this Iran's nuclear deal, it is very important regarding GS paper 2 under international relations. And you can expect some prelims based questions regarding this Iran's nuclear deal. So now let us try to understand facts regarding this Iran's nuclear deal. So before that, let us see first context here. Here Biden administration said that it will participate in talks with Iran with a view to reinstate this JCPOA. So this JCPOA is also called as Iran's nuclear deal. Mainly, as we know, in 2018, US administration mainly came out of this Iran's nuclear deal unilaterally. Now new administration that came in USA, and this Biden administration mainly want to participate in this Iran's nuclear deal. So if you see some details, it mainly says that in 2018, Trump administration pulled this US out of this JCPOA. So this Iran's nuclear deal or this joint comprehensive plan of action, so it is an agreement mainly between Iran, P5 countries of United Nations Security Council, and as well as Germany. So Iran plus P5 plus Germany. So there is agreement that signed here. So if you're talking about some facts regarding this agreement, so in 2015, Iran plus P5 plus 1, that is Germany, mainly agreed for long-term deal of its nuclear program. So under this deal, Iran mainly agreed to curb this nuclear activity. In return, what happened? It is expecting to lift sanctions on Iran here. So this is some important provisions of this deal. So agreement mainly allowed Iran to accumulate only small amounts of uranium for research and this agreement mainly banned Iran for enrichment of uranium. So if you see, in May 2018, USA abandoned this deal unilaterally, and this USA mainly criticized it as a flawed and as well as reinstated and tightened its sanctions on this Iran. So these are some important recent developments regarding this Iran nuclear deal. So if you see, because of these sanctions which are tightened here, Iran had been steadily breaking some of its commitment, and it started enriching this uranium, and Iran also gave a statement that it is going to enrich more than 20% of uranium in recent times. So these are some important things that you should remember regarding this issue. Now let us see next article. Title says Transatlantic Alliance is back, says Biden. So this article mainly talking about a Transatlantic Alliance. In simple words, we can also say it is North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. So this NATO, it is very important regarding international relations, which comes under GS paper 2. And this NATO is also important regarding prelims and also mains. Okay. So now let us try to understand this topic in great detail. So context says that President Joe Biden declared that Transatlantic Alliance is back. And in this speech of Joe Biden, he mainly said that he wants to re-establish US, United States, as a leader of the West against what he called global assault on democracy. So he wants to re-establish US as a powerful country from West. So in this context, he also said that US is determined to re-engage with Europe to consult and to end back our position of busted leadership. So because of Trump administration, so there are some internal pressures that happen in this NATO, and NATO become very diluted and very irrelevant today. So because of this, now President Joe Biden, he want to tighten this NATO alliance here. He want to come up with re-engage with Europe and want to emerge as a rising power in from West here. So now let us try to talk some facts regarding this NATO. If you're talking about this NATO, it mainly stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So it is a fundamental purpose. So the important fundamental purpose of NATO here, it is to safeguard the freedom and as well as security of its members, either politically and as well as militarily. So both politically and as well as militarily here, NATO, it wants to safeguard freedom and as well as security of its member. So it brings together 28 member nations from Europe and as well as North America, and it will consult and also cooperate mainly in fields of defense and as well as security. So if you are talking about key provisions of this NATO, so you have to remember one thing, that is Article 5. So this Article 5 mainly says that if one member of the alliance is attacked in Europe or North America, then it should be considered as attack on all members, and all members, they should be retaliate. Okay. So this is Article 5. So because of this Article 5, West Europe, which is placed under nuclear umbrella of United States of America. So if you see this NATO, so this NATO, it is a military alliance which mainly established by North Atlantic Treaty, or it is also called as Washington Treaty. And this treaty was signed on 4th April 1949. So these are some important facts. And now let us see what are recent issues regarding this NATO. Here first one is there is internal strain that is happening, because here Trump mainly recurrently demanding that countries who are member of this NATO to devote an amount which is equal to at least 2% of GDP of defense they are spending in their countries in 2018. So because of increased pressures here, as of now only 7 out of this all NATO members, they are contributing about 2%. But what about remaining countries? They are not offering here. So because of this, Trump, he is mainly recurrently demanding that countries mainly to devote amount which is equal to at least 2% of GDP of their defense. And next one is there is also strained relationship over selling of defense equipments. So this NATO mainly important objective here, it is to share information and to protect their security and as well as defense, right? So if you're talking about to maintain good defense, we need some equipments, right? So regarding this defense equipment, there is some strained relationship that is seen in NATO. For example, US mainly halted delivery of F-35 fighter jets to Turkey here, because Turkey mainly buys some S-400 missile system from Russia. So because of this, there is halt. So because of this, that is leading to strained relationship between other countries regarding this defense equipments. So this is gist of this article. Now let us see next article. So before seeing this article, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. We came up with this current affairs package course. In this course, we are focusing on current affairs and also mains answer writing practice. So if you ask me importance of current affairs, about 50 to 60% of questions, either it may be prelims or mains or even interview, you can expect questions from current affairs. So if you are getting any static based questions, they are also related to current affairs. So here mastering of current affairs, it is an important key mainly to clear UPSC. And if you are talking about this answer writing practice, without proper answer writing skills, you cannot clear UPSC for sure. So you need to focus on this answer writing on day 1 of your preparation. And if you are enrolling to this course, we also provide you prelims practice questions on week basis along with video solutions. So this course, it is focusing on exact what is demand on UPSC. So finally, I want to say one thing. Please try to join this course as soon as possible and don't take this course as a choice. So for further details, please contact us. Details are given in description box. Now let us come back and let us see next article. Title says Indian IT workers to benefit from US immigration bill. So this article mainly focusing on this US new immigration bill. So this article will be important regarding economy because whenever there are some relaxation in US immigration bill, then what happened? There will be increased outflow of Indians to US. Then what happened? There will be increased employment opportunities for Indians in USA, and it will also help to increase the income of people, and finally it will also increase remittances that will be sent to India. So if remittances are increasing, we can also see forex reserves will be increased. So because of all these things, now this article is important regarding economy point of view. Now let us try to understand context and as well as some important details of this article. So context says that US administration introduced an immigration bill in Congress. So this bill mainly proposes to eliminate the per country cap of employment which is based on green cards. So this bill mainly talks about there is elimination of this per country cap. That means if you are taking, there is one country USA here. So for USA to USA, there are many students who are coming from different countries like A, B, C. So if at all US have any protocol like from A country, there should be only 100 members, they should come to USA. But from country B 50, from country B 100. So in this way, if there is any cap here, then what happened? There will be limited people who will go from these countries to USA here. So this bill mainly talks about there is no need of this per country cap. That means they are mainly going to eliminate this per country cap for this employment based green cards. So now let us try to understand some details which are given in this article. If you are talking about US Citizenship Act of 2021, so this act mainly proposes that a pathway to citizenship to about 11 million undocumented workers. Okay, so it mainly thinking to provide some citizenship to 11 million undocumented workers. Mainly that will helpful for elimination for per country per quota for employment based green cards and as well as work authorization and as well as for dependents of this H1B visa workers. So this is some significance of this move. And if you see further significance, first and foremost here is it would mainly bring citizenship to millions of foreign individuals. So it is citizenship mainly given to undocumented workers, those who came legally to USA. And next one is those who are waiting for a green card for more than 10 years, they would get some legal permanent residency immediately. So these are some important significance of this move. Okay, now let us see next article. Title says too many ITs, unrealistic expectations. So this article mainly focusing on IITs. So this article mainly focusing on what is this IITs, what are offerings of IITs, who are students of IITs, faculty, and this article especially focusing on what are concerns regarding this IITs recent days and also some way forward or need that to be done. So this article is very important regarding GS paper 2 under education. So you can expect some mains regarding questions from this topic. So now let us try to understand this article in great detail, and I will try my level best to make you understand this article. So this article mainly talking about mandate of IITs. So why this IITs in news? So if you see some background regarding this IITs they are crown jewels of Indian higher education. So if you're talking about some Indian higher education, so these are top most universities, these are top most colleges, right? So few of Indian higher education institutions, they do reasonably well in global rankings. So because of this presence of IITs in India, so these are some institutions, they have some name in international community. So they are also doing good in global rankings also. So the world, they are world renowned for quality of their graduates and for their academic programs regarding technology and as well as engineering here. So students who are coming with this from this IITs, they will have good demand in international market and also even in India. So they will be hired in campus only by campus placement with good hiring, good salary, etc. And if you see some issues regarding these IITs, so these IIT system which has expanded beyond its capacity now, and maintenance of higher standards regarding quality and quantity of education, that is in danger now. So quality of education which is sinking because of increasing number of IIT based colleges beyond their capacity. The second one is recent decision of University Grants Commission, that is UGC, mainly to prevent some selected IITs under instrument of admission here, IOE here. So whenever they are granting permission of IOE, mainly to set up campuses abroad, that could further weaken these already stretched institutions. So because of this, whenever we are giving some eminent status for this type of institutions, so mainly they will go for setup of campuses abroad. So whenever they are going for setting up of campuses abroad, that would further weaken already structured institutions here. So next one is because of these two reasons, it is mainly time to rethink regarding changing role of these IITs and also what is mandate of these IITs. So if you're talking about mandate of these IITs, so first one is it need to ensure the quality and as well as it need to focus on quality of education here. So first one is it need to ensure and as well as it need to focus on how to maintain this quality of education. And second one is it need to prioritize the needs of India in 21st century. So in this context, we need to rethink about what is changing role of these IITs and as well as mandate of IITs now. So if you are talking about IITs, so earlier in 1950s to 1960s, we have just 5 IITs and 4 had mainly foreign collaborations. For example, IIT Bombay, that is collaborated with Soviet Union, IIT Madras with Germany, IIT Kanpur with US, IIT Delhi with UK. So after this IIT Delhi established in year 1964, it took about 34 years mainly to establish 6th IIT center. So currently there are about 23 IIT institutions in India. So if you are talking about funding of these IITs, they are generally funded by central government. So these IIT mainly focus exclusively on technology and as well as engineering. So later on there will be extension in different fields like humanities and as well as social sciences here. So now with this new education policy 2020, so it mainly emphasized that these IITs, they should focus more on holistic and as well as multidisciplinary education. So because of this now it is in news. And some problems also seen in this IITs like shortage of faculties. So if you are talking about offering students and faculties of these IITs are not universities. They are because they do not have a range of disciplines. So they are mainly deals with this technology part and as well as some humanities and sciences, but not all around fields. So if you are talking about size of these institutions are also limited. So because of this, we cannot say those IITs as universities here. So if you are talking about these IITs, initially they started as undergraduate course and now they are gradually adding this postgraduate courses also. Okay, they are self-consciously elite institutions. So important aim of those IITs here, it is to go for highest international academic standards in India. So if you are talking about faculty of IITs, they are mainly attracted towards this IITs because they have some chance, they will get some chance mainly to work with best academic minds in India and as well as they are committed to India's development here. So because of this, mainly professors, especially high quality professors, they have been attracted to these IITs here. So now let us talk about concerns regarding these IITs now. So there are mainly 4 concerns. First one is vacancies in faculty. Because of retirements of people, there is some delays in refilling of those vacancies. And next one is most of these faculties, they are attracted towards information technology and related industries here. Now there are IT and as well as related industries that are rising here. So because of increase in number of these IITs and as well as related industries now, so they are offering much attractive salaries and as well as they are providing some exciting work opportunity. So mainly faculty, they are moving towards this. And next one is government dramatically expanding number of IITs. So more number of new IITs that are coming up in smaller towns. So because of this, they do not have proper urban amenities in those colleges. And next one is faculties and infrastructures, they are unlikely world class. So there is lack of infrastructure and as well as lack of facilities. So whenever there is no proper infrastructure and no proper facilities, how can we ensure quality education? So this is also one important question that comes into picture. And next one is lack of correlation between local needs and as well as IITs. So there is no proper correlation or whatever needs are required by industries which are present now. So these are not given by this IITs here. So because of this, there is lack of correlation between what are local needs regarding skills and as well as what are these IITs are providing. So these are some concerns regarding these IITs. Now let us see what is need here. Here the first one is we need excellent engineering institutions like STEM education, that is science, technology, engineering and mathematics. So institutions, they are mainly needed. So if you are going, if any institution which is going for this STEM education, so all institutions, they do not be IITs, but they are, if at all, some institutions which are formed or which are developed or which are established here. So those names should be renamed and they should provide with sufficient resources or sufficient funds, mainly to produce high quality education and as well as good research environment. So there is a need for funding and we need to allocate resources. Because of lack of resources, we do not have proper facilities, proper infrastructure. So this gap should be decreased by providing enough resources. And next one is we should recruit faculty. So recruiting faculty, in this method we can go for liberalization. So whenever we are going for liberalization of this recruitment process, here we can recruit from top in universities which are present internationally, such that we can ensure quality of education, standards of education. So finally, we need to say we need some robust policies that will help to attract investments, okay, that will help to attract international students, and it will also help to provide some adequate and sustainable funding is mandated regarding this IITs, mainly to maintain this quality of education. So this is gist of this article. I hope it is clear now. Now let us see mains question. So it is time to rethink the changing role and the mandate of the IITs in order to ensure that quality and as well as focus continue. Elaborate. So answer should not be more than 150 words. Try to write this answer. By this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll this current affairs package course. Thank you so much.